Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending this meeting of the Lanteglos Parish Council. I have a letter from the Foy Harbour Commission which they've asked to be read out. And this is in response to queries about St Winnow. The proposal is not one generated from the Foy Harbour office, but from owners of sports boats who have requested to have an area designated for their use within the estuary. The idea is currently being considered by the Port User Group, who are made up of stakeholders representing all the various groups who use our harbour. If the user group consider this idea has merit, the proposal will then be forwarded to the Harbour Commissioners for their consideration. So to reiterate, this is not, as suggested, an idea from the board, but from one group who use the river. The Harbour Board firmly believe that all users should have their voice heard and needs understood. The board will then attempt to strike a balance in managing the sometimes conflicting requirements of port users with their duty to conservancy and wider estuary management. The representative on the user group who has chosen to highlight this particular request to the public is David Johns, Appleland. It is to him your comments should be directed, and the email has been forwarded to him. This letter has been forwarded to him to enable him to reply to you, keeping Foy Harbour Commission copied on any response.
Councillors. You may have seen reports in the media about the future of Visit Cornwall, and I guess somewhere that tourism is a really important part of our economy. It might be very concerned to think that Visit Cornwall had perhaps died. Well, it hasn't. It's just changed slightly from being supported within the council to being formed into a community interest company. And that those activities, although they will be curtailed to quite the extent they used to take place around events, they will still be promoting Cornwall as a destination. So this community interest company started on the 1st of April, and it will continue to raise awareness of Cornwall as a tourist destination. The council has given initially £300,000 to support the transition of the new from the council or from Cornwall Development Company into the Community Interest Company and a new board. And from now on it will be supported by membership fees from the industry rather than directly by the taxpayer. Earlier this year, Cornwall Council introduced an annual Community Recognition Award. This is an idea that the chairman of the council, Councillor Wood, has been the champion of, and really it's been agreed by a cross-party group of councillors. But I wanted to highlight this because I know that there are a lot of people in Lanteglos that perhaps are deserving of a community award for their contribution towards their community. So in the first instance, if you can think of somebody that perhaps has done great work within the community that you think is deserving of an award, then if you perhaps want to consider that, email me their name in a paragraph about why they should be recognised. Then I can put that forward to the chairman of the council. I think the winners of the award will get a civic reception. I'm not sure there's any big prize, but it's just really the accolade and of being somebody that's worked hard on behalf of their community. Just an update on the Cornwall local plan examination in public. It starts on the 18th of May and it's split into two sections. The first section will be looking at the headline housing figures, and it's going to be at the Atlantic Hotel in Newquay. It is open to members of the public, and if you're really interested in attending and seeing how it all works and the questioning, you're very welcome to attend. The second part, it will be in July, and that will look at more details: gypsies and travellers, renewable energy, minerals and waste, and a whole range of all the other range of issues that are highlighted in the Cornwall local plan. A quick update as well on the case for Cornwall. I highlighted this last time, and you may well have had a little glossy brochure about... have you had a glossy brochure? A black? I will find you a copy. It was quite broad brush about the areas that we were looking for additional powers and freedoms and flexibilities for policies that sometimes don't fit Cornwall or don't work for Cornwall, affordable housing being one of them. We're starting now to put a lot more detail onto that, timescale to submit to civil servants at the moment, because obviously there are no MPs there at the moment. We are talking with civil servants and they are coming to Cornwall in beginning of June to go through that. I'm taking a lead on working up some of the planning asks, setting our own permitted development rights, for example, rather than just following national guidance. So at the moment it's around more freedoms and flexibilities, but it's always with an eye to fairer funding. I'm sure you haven't forgotten, but tomorrow night is the Lanteglos Community Network area meeting, and I think members were attending East Taphouse Village Hall because there's quite a big section there on neighbourhood planning and setting the priorities for the Lanteglos network area. As you know, Cornwall councillors have a community chest, and we've just been allocated £2,000 for this year to spend on community projects that benefit local people. There is a simple form to fill in, and match funding or contribution from the group applying is encouraged. Our conversation we had before the meeting was about the play park, for example, and improvements to that. I did pledge to give some money to that from last year's, but it wasn't quite, the timing wasn't right, but that pledge is still there. So if you're connected with that, I want to keep back that money. I don't want it to be lost, but I'm not quite sure where they are with that. A couple of updates as well about the Hall Walk. The tender process deadline has passed. I don't know who the winner of the contract is, but it has been awarded. I couldn't get the absolute updates today, but it definitely has been awarded. The contractors need about 2.5 weeks to mobilise, get all their materials and all their equipment in place. And the start date I've been given is the 26th of May. And I understand that it's at least a month, maybe 6 weeks work, but I will clarify that to you after the tomorrow. I should get a bit more detail on that. It's really important. We know the start date because we want to coordinate that with the pathworks on Bones Meadow, so we don't really want it all happening at the same time. And to that end, Bones Meadow, I have had some questions from members of the public who are concerned about the shrubs and trees along the path to the bottom of the site and whether they will be removed. I have spoken to Mr Gardner and the site manager, and he says there is no plan to remove any of the shrubs or trees. They may need some trimming back of vegetation that is overflowing beyond the boundaries in order to permit the works of the footpath to be carried out. But they'll take a view on that once they actually start the work. He has suggested that the concerned resident has nothing to worry about, that's their words, but would add that, as with many points that have been raised of the period from planning applications up to current times, we always have the welfare and well-being of our residents foremost in our minds. So I've just given a reassurance. I think that's all I wanted to highlight at the moment, Chairman, unless members have any questions, and I'll be very happy to answer them.
Are there any questions?
There is only one. You're saying that they're trying to coordinate the remedials on the path, the normal path, and put it that way, so that they don't clash?
That's exactly what we're trying to avoid. And because they will need a street works licence to undertake that work because it is a public right of way. And they seem very open. They don't seem in any great hurry to do that. They've got plenty of other work to be going on with. But we're trying to get the priority works to be the Hall Walk, because it's been going on for so long. So I want to make that very clear. Hall Walk definitely is the priority.
Numerous people have, stopped and asked the way, obviously, as well. And when would this possibly be open again? And
I think we're looking at least the end of June for it to be open. It's a big job, and as you know, Cornwall Council have taken all the financial cost of undertaking that work.
You may address the council prior to the commencement of the meeting, either on items of the agenda or things of general interest. Non-registrable interests. Weston?
Item 61, 2015, the churchyard.
Thank you. Planning matters. Because we looked at this in December, this was South Torfrey Farm Gallant, the 2 illegal turbines that you will see, they're just over there. We agreed to take a watching brief on this to see what action Cornwall Council had taken regarding the removal of wind turbines. I wrote to Mr. Cooper Young, asking what had happened, and also pointing out that one of them seemed to have been taken down anyway. It has since been either put up or been replaced. That, because it was a surprise to him, he now has to go back and look at his report and draft notice to the council's legal team. So we are no further forward on that one. That is where we are.
What I can't understand is how items or buildings or anything can be erected. They lose their applications, they get told to take them down, and yet planning, the enforcement people don't go in and enforce their action.
Apparently what he had to do here was to write a report under draft notice. This is the notice of enforcements to the legal team. And what he asked me was whether I was certain that one had recently been removed or replaced, and yes, it had. So that is where it is. So it's taken them until April to get a draft report together. And
It's happened with loads of buildings, hasn't it?
The trouble is enforcement people seem to work quick in some ways and extremely slow in others.
I think there's a lot of money concerned in this, and they have to be very, very careful in what they do. Is it your wish that I write to him again and say that I brought it up at the meeting, and you want me to pursue it further? Councillor Hannah.
Thank you, Chairman. I attended the St Blasey Par Network Area meeting last night, and this was raised by Foy, who are equally as upset of flouting of planning decisions. I didn't know the answer to the question last night, but I did undertake that I would find out exactly what the position is. But I think my understanding is that it's not with enforcement, it's with the legal team, and you are quite right that they have to make sure that they dot their I's, cross their T's, because if they get the slightest thing procedurally wrong, it will be, bounced back again. So I think there is a will to make sure, because Foy feel very strongly about this, to make sure that it is pursued. But I think it would be helpful if this council wanted to make their own representations, but I certainly am as well. And I'm sorry I can't update you tonight. I didn't get the answers to the questions I posed after the meeting last night, but I will.
Thank you.
Is it worth writing to him again and ask for a report? We've only got these in a couple of weeks' time, haven't we?
Yeah, on your team.
Have
Yeah.
it on our agenda. What
Yeah.
is the report? What or details of the report would be
Yeah.
useful?
And it's also like writing in the way that Councillor Hannaford has suggested, that there is a will to see that it is pursued.
That's right, because it's just willful floating of the rules.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it.
Can I have a proposer and a seconder then for that, please?
I'll propose it.
Thank you, Vic. Seconder, Adrian, show of hands, please. Thank you.
One abstain.
And one abstention. Trivanda, the proposed loft conversion and general refurbishment, the application for that has been withdrawn. No planning applications have been received. Planning application approved by Cornwall Council. This was 7 First Park, School Lane in Pole Rural. It was a non-material amendment for a 2-storey side extension and loft conversion to add screening to gable end, French doors and circular window to dormer cheeks on the southwest elevation. Moving on now to environmental and amenity matters. The key public conveniences. Lynette, would you like to take us through this, please?
Yeah, I had some correspondence this week from the clerk of the Town Trust, stating that they are instructing their solicitor to draw up a 3-year lease for the property commencing on the 1st of April 2016. The Trust have agreed to pay £1,500 towards the running costs for the forthcoming winter period, and additionally they agreed to pay £2,500 per year towards the running costs for the 3 years of the lease.
Thank you. So we're waiting for a draft lease. Thoughts on that, please?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Just keep the ball rolling, keep it.
Yeah. So,
Could only be good.
I think, reply to the Town Trust, the council has unanimously agreed and accepted this generosity, and I'd like particular thanks to Mr Hill, please, for steering this through. Thank you very much. St Saviour's Public Conveniences, I've got Councillor Weld to speak on this. Could you report on maintenance issues, please?
Yes, there's some painting to be done. The ceilings in all the toilets require repainting. The walls only need touching up. The external walls do need repainting. That's it. There are two plumbing issues in the toilets involving systems, so that needs a plumber's attention. And then there is the question of, do we install these self-closing taps? Because we have had occasions where the water's just been left, people open the taps and just leave the water running, which is quite expensive. So I would recommend that we do fit those self-closing taps.
Thank you.
Yes,
That's all.
that's a good idea.
Okay.
Do we have to take a vote on standing on the top?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you propose this?
Yeah,
Who's seconding?
we're talking between 20 and £30 per tap, and there are 2, 3.
Right.
And the water costs quite a bit if it's
Well,
not just running.
This is what we're saying, at the end of the day, it's a one-off expense where instead of people going in and needing the taps running, which was reported to us that one was left running,
Yeah.
it's surprising how quickly, and we know how big of bills we've had in the past, where we had a leak, and that was undetected until it came to light. One of those situations where I think it's a little money spent, but could be a lot of money saved in the long run.
Yes, I agree.
What about fitting these?
Right, so we have
It's-
a separate quote, so it's normally...
I have asked one guy to look at it. There's several people that are so busy. I've asked, as I spoke earlier on, I did ask four people were told, and a couple of them didn't want to know that, you know, it's only like a small job that not many people would tackle, where they got whole houses of plumbing, God knows what. And it's like the painting job. I asked 4 different people, and I believe 2 have come back, what their quotes are and all the rest of it. But if you look into them, is it better to look at the quotes before we vote on that? Or, you know, if we get some sort of figures what they put in, we'll know what we're going to spend.
I think the clerk needs to open these and perhaps report back on the 18th.
Yeah.
Thank you. In the meanwhile, though, we do want to go ahead with these tabs.
Yes.
I think
The other bit is what date are we opening the full toilets at St Saviour's? Was the other question.
Yeah, no, we're jumping around a bit here. Right. Yeah. So we know there are maintenance issues, and those are going to be covered, we hope, by the tender process. We know that we've agreed, I think, or there is a recommendation that we fit these spring return shut-off tabs. And then we're going to agree or look at the recommendation to consider keeping St Saviour's open until 8 p.m. daily from the 1st of May.
So who's proposed that we have, Councillor Wild proposed that we have these shut-off taps.
I'll second.
Councillor Adams has seconded it.
Is, with that, is it to get a quote for the next meeting then?
I can,
So
Yes.
that everything can be dealt with next time?
Yes.
I have asked around about nobody wants. I've got one back, so
Right.
it was preempted as such. But
Fran's letter from
Right, I have a letter from Fran Garden. I have been asked by the Coast Watch keepers in Polru if we are able to open St Saviour's WC until 8 p.m. from now or very soon. I explained the contract was until the end of May at the current agreement, but would certainly ask and consider it. They have moved their watch times to the summer schedule, so stay on watch later. What would you advise, please, or is it a committee decision? Yes, it is. Do we wish to keep these open until 8 o'clock daily from May the 1st? That's Friday.
Makes sense.
is it any inconvenience to you? I said the only other proposal I would have said was to have given them the key to the disabled that they could use it.
Do we have any spare keys?
We don't at this moment in time, but I am sure that it can be arranged.
That would seem sensible.
So,
A key.
you know, one key to the watch people.
Yeah.
If it's inconvenient for Fran to close up and it's closed, at least they've got a key to go in there.
Right. Who cuts keys locally?
It's a funny one, isn't it? Because Cormac changed the law.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So you'd have to go by the council, I think,
So
to get a
you
spare
have to
key.
do that. Yeah.
I had approached Cormac earlier on, and last year I asked for a spare key.
So we've got a proposal then to
not keep them open, but to give them a key for the disabled toilet. Is that
To
right?
keep them open.
no, I would say that
We'll have a spare key for them.
it seems sensible that we do keep them open until 8 o'clock. But
Right.
we also have asked for these spare keys. We ought to have one, and they could have a key, but that will need to go through Cornwall Council. Right. I'll
Yeah,
say
can I
that.
interrupt you
Yeah.
on that? As soon as this conversation has gone over the toilets, I am liable to cause county council headache and more paperwork because of certain people will liable to report me. I am a member of Coast Watch.
Well, really just that,
Well, perhaps you
Does
should
that-
vote on it.
Just don't use the toilet when you're there.
I just haven't actually taken part in the discussion. And you will not vote. Thank you.
Be careful, John, you'll be reporting to Mr Harris.
Okay, now then, can we come back please to what we said that we think we want to do, because we haven't actually voted on that, have
To
we?
keep the toilets open.
All agreed to keep them open, and that we ask Cornwall Council for 2 spare keys, one for us and one for the Coast
Thank
Watch
you.
keepers. Councillor
Got it.
Adams did not take part in the discussion or vote,
Thank you.
as he is a member of the Coast Watch keepers.
Well, I propose that.
Thank you. Right. Key lighting, do we have any further developments, please? In the next?
Key lighting. I wrote to Dave Swiggs highlighting the concerns about the insufficient lighting over the quay steps. I've heard nothing back.
In the politest possible way, could you chase him, please? Thank you. Frogmore, I've sent you all, I think you've all seen that, a draft heads of agreement from Verity Bidding. It isn't a contract. I've gone through it in some detail. Yeah, you have got it on you. It is actually it's a very favourable contract. If I can tell you what the history was, there was a contract drawn up in 2006 for 5 years, so that should have been renewed in 2011 by the previous administration. For whatever reason, it wasn't. So we have looked into this, and what she's proposing is a 10-year lease with a rent review after 5 years. They insure the building, we have to redecorate at the end of 5 years. The tenants' repairs are very specific. The maintenance is all down to the National Trust, and if you read the detail of what they are doing, it's quite a favourable lease to us. There is the question of the £25. Yeah, if you go through that.
I emailed back to Verity with some questions which she thought maybe you might bring up, and her reply was, I propose a lease start date of the 1st of June 2015 and a 10-year term with a break clause at year 5 if agreeable with the council. The rent charge proposed is nominal amount only. All building repairs are listed as being the trust's responsibility, but pending your views, I have provisionally drafted in the attached that the parish council be responsible for redecoration internally and externally. Possibly timing of redecoration is something the parish council would like to consider. I have suggested redecoration might be every 5 years, for example at year 5 of the lease and the last year of the lease, year 10. However, the timings we agree on, this would depend on how soon the building requires redecoration, which I would welcome your view on as well. Again, subject to your approval, I have proposed the cost of emptying the septic tank might be shared equally between the parties when required during the lease. My further suggestion, which is not yet detailed in the attached, is that the Trust would like to keep a donations box at the premises. But I'm pretty sure somewhere she also had written that they might waiver the
because it's a legal contract, there has to be a fee. I think what she said was, it's in here somewhere, that it would actually probably cost them more than £25 to issue the invoice. So it is very likely that they will waive it. What we now need to do, if you're happy with that, is that I need to sign to confirm agreement of these proposed terms, and you would need to witness that for me, please.
I certainly don't agree with the cost to anything towards the cost of emptying the septic tank. We already pay the electric and watering rates going with the building, so the least they can do is empty the septic tank.
I think Adrian would be grudging people's stuff. We got the place rent-free, we just asked to be redecorated twice a year, and if we with our money can't afford to empty the septic tank, and we just had a lecture on Visit Cornwall, and Visit Cornwall, the visitors, the county council have pulled the rug from underneath their feet.
She actually says that they would go halves. She
They have
says
a collection box there already, surely they've got...
she proposes the cost of emptying the septic tank might be shared equally between the parties when required during the lease.
It depends what sort of weather you have. I mean, I've got a septic tank of my own, and I empty mine once every sort of 12 years. I've been there 25 years and I only do it twice.
I've been in my house since 1974.
You've never done it, you've probably got an old-fashioned one.
Yeah.
We haven't had to pay till now, and I don't see why we should add anything to our costs.
You know, Scrooge was a figment of Charles Dickens' Christmas.
Well,
Can we have some other thoughts?
I know you are quite happy to spend willy-nilly on toilets, John, yeah,
I propose to be septic, to be honest.
You propose that I sign this.
I can't
seconder. Can I have a show of hands, please? Right, and Adrian against. Scoop the Coop. We discussed this last time. This is the financial impact, advantages and local media sourcing the glow-in-the-dark We Are Watching You posters and stickers from New Town Council. Yeah, if you look there.
From my earlier picture, yes.
You want a lot of glow-in-the-dark posters around the room?
Yeah, as Lynette has pointed out, Isabel, you seem to be thinking the same way. Do we need those in addition to having the laminated ones put up?
To be honest, the people that are going to let their dogs do what they do are going to do it anyway. They were taking notes of that.
Okay.
Most responsible dog owners clean up after themselves, as simple as that. I bet you can't.
Yeah.
Unless someone's chasing them.
I like the notice in the churchyard, which has a little bit of humour to it. You please pick up your dog's donations.
Right. Councillor Hannaford.
Thank you, Chairman. There's been a pilot scheme throughout the country in 26 other local authorities, and they actually showed from memory, I think it was a 46% improvement in dog fouling. What generally happens in sort of out the way places or dark alleyways or where there isn't street lighting, you're far more likely to think you're going to get away with it. And because these are glow in the dark, it really does make people think. So there is some. I'm not saying you should do it; it's entirely up to you. Lou have decided that they are going to do it, but there is evidence that it does work, and it's a project that Keep Britain Tidy have championed. So to say that there's no effect, actually the evidence doesn't support that view.
Well, we could try to make West Street, because that's nice and dark, West Street to Saviour's Hill in the winter, and normally just tiptoe through the tulips out there if you walk at night.
But there is a cost to
Yes.
How
And it's-
much are they?
Yeah.
For 20 posters, it's £400,
Well,
and for 30 bin stickers, it's £150. I think that's right, Edwina.
Yeah, but they are weatherproof. They're not laminated. They're actually printed onto. I think it's called Corex. So it's that they're a bit more substantial. Yes, they're not cheap, but they are glow in the dark.
We could say that 10 or 5 would cover West Street and St Saviour's Hill.
Is there a minimum?
No, because what was sorry, Chairman? But what we're suggesting is Lou are about to order them. I've waited to so that we can add your order onto their order. We can sort out how that works with the payment. I'm sure we can come to some kind of arrangement.
John, would you like to?
Well, I would say 10 would cover Paul Road.
I didn't realise there's so many dark alleys in Paul Road.
can I come in on this one?
Yes,
please?
please.
Things that glow in the dark are generally radioactive. No. Are these things radioactive?
I should think there's far more damage to human health from
Are
dog.
they radioactive?
I've no idea, from dog
We
mess
probably
than
found
there,
out.
than there is from a poster.
Right.
Or don't kill people.
Yeah. So do we have?
Yeah, the dog.
No. John, do we have a proposal from you?
I propose to all the same dozen.
Right. We've gone from 10 to a dozen. Seconder for that, please.
Is this just the
Baker
posters?
Baker
or-
dozen.
This is just posters, not bin stickers.
Well,
I would, my
glow
personal,
in the
I would
dark
just go for
posters.
the posters to
Yeah.
start with and see the effect. I think other thing, Chairman, is that if you decide to do this, I would have a bit of publicity and say you're really trying to clamp down on this, and the publicity and the awareness raising also helps to dissuade people who are just basically lazy. If they think they're going to get caught, some people, it might dissuade some people,
How
but
big
not
are
all.
these posters?
I think they're A4.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, you know, people.
There is
We'll
one,
have the posters up
Sorry.
around the village.
Yeah.
there is only one problem with, well, one problem as far as I'm concerned is a lot of the fouling is created by people at night where they don't go out with their dogs, they just turn them loose in the streets.
Let them out.
They foul the streets and they
true.
come out of their house again. And that is caused a heck of a lot. And you see it time and time again. So, unless the dogs are going to take any notice of them, I can't see they're going to help a lot, but it's the people that you want to try and educate, but I don't think you will.
Lynette, would you like to come in?
Posters up around the
We had
village
8
all the time.
laminates last month, and we struggled to decide where to site 8 free laminates. So to order, yeah,
They all went up.
I know, but we sat and we discussed, well, where else, and it was like we had 2 left, where do we put them? So
But how do they
before
connect?
we say we're going to order 12, we want to decide where you're going to.
Do
Yeah.
you
Put
plan
them on
permission
first.
if they're an eyesore? I mean, it's not being funny, but some people complain it's so bright. Do they need to look at it? You don't know, do you? I know we're getting on ridiculous like that, but where are you going to? I wouldn't want something stuck on my fence that's glowing. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You need to get permission from the owner if it's going to be on their property. And do they really want something luminous glowing and everything? I certainly
think
don't.
we need to decide where to put them before you
But I don't live in Pole Road.
have them.
Right, so
I
we've
don't
got
like
2
the
opposing
yellow.
views here.
That's down to people.
Right, do I get, I'm going to ask for a show of hands here. Who is not in favour of ordering any of these? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's it.
I've lost 4 against 3. No need to count me further. I admit defeat.
I sat quiet because I'm trying to work out, is there the demand? Obviously, a member of the public came and raised it with us, originally, the dog fouling, and the thing is, when it goes quiet again, do we assume we've achieved the goal, or has it? I'm trying to work out, you know, nobody's complaining at the moment, so did the posters work last time?
Yeah, we take a view on that, say, in another 2 meetings' time.
Well, that makes sense.
So, what we've got is we're not going to go ahead with the luminous ones, but we are going to keep a watching brief for 2 months on the effectiveness of the ones that already are.
Yes. And if we receive any complaints in the meantime, we'll know where to go from there.
And if they get any surplus, they could be donated to us.
I'll bear that in mind.
Right, take the vote. Yeah, we do have to vote on that, please, because that's money, or not money. Adrian, you've proposed.
We'll review it in 2 months' time.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll second that.
Isabel,
Yeah.
yeah, that's carried. Right, 4 Street drains. Members to consider the ongoing issues with the drains in 4 Street and to decide the first steps in taking action to get them looked at and maintained. Hold on a minute, what have we got?
Fran, again, thank you.
What were they doing the other day in Forest Street?
Well, if you like.
Can I just read what this is? This Southwest Water has said there's a collapsed pipe at the foot of the steps at number 45. But the addition of items put in the loops that should not be there has not helped. No date has been set yet for renewal, and there seems to be similar problems across the village. Right, John?
Right. 4 Street drains, as Councillor Ward will tell you, are oversubscribed. The clay pipes are suffering from wear and tear. To my knowledge, at least, there are 3 broken or blocked pipes in the length of 4 Street. They start from the regularly collapsed drain, which is now on its 5th repair opposite Sunray House. The next one up is by number 13, 4 Street, where I reported to Southwest Water there was water leaking out of a stopcock. But 2 foot further down, they found the leak was sewage coming up through the ground from a broken drain, leaking up through a stopcock. Now that's been, 4 Street's been dry weather now for 2 months. Now the next one up from there is where Fran's talking about. The clear flow team are regularly down there because there's a blocked drain at roughly number 44 Street, is it? 45 4th Street. The last one is up at Townsend, where the new houses is, opposite in the road by Lanteglos, where Clearflow are constantly there. They put a camera down and they recognise there's a dip in the pipe in the road. Now they're up there on a very regular basis. And all the South West Water do, when they're contacted by the owners of the two new properties, is send out a Clearflow to clear it. What I'm suggesting is that South West Water get a camera team and do a survey of the drains of 4th Street from top to bottom and report back to this council what they found.
What sort of state they're in? Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? The sound of it.
Yeah, but it's the camera survey.
Oh, I thought they were digging up the main street. I thought that was happening in January. Is that something?
That
I
was
saw we had a letter from someone, didn't we, at one of the meetings saying that they were going to start sometime in the actual...
January the 7th from Adrian Drake, and that all got stopped.
Oh,
And
I
the
didn't know.
road subsided again.
Are you proposing that we write?
That's right, yes, I'm
Yeah.
proposing.
Yeah.
We asked for full camera survey.
Yeah.
I will second.
Because of ongoing problems with this, the remedial work that they do is just patching over the cracks, if you like, for want of a better term.
So what are we actually asking
A
them
camera
for?
survey
Full
for the
camera
condition.
survey of the drains from Ocean View right down to the main holding sewage tank. As Councillor Wild will tell you, outside the lugger they had methane coming out the drains.
The main what? Sewage?
The main sewage drain.
That's the key.
And the key.
As patching works is insufficient.
Well,
Yeah,
the drains are just gradually fracturing.
I think it's the only practical way we can do anything in this is to write South West Water and ask that, because
And we would
we're
like
not
a
powerless
copy,
to do.
and we would like a copy of the video supplied to this council.
Yeah, because that's what we're asking them to do, so they respond to us.
They respond to us.
If you remember when we had the meeting with South West Water, they were talking about putting liners down, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, those liners are flexible things. The way you've got collapsed roadways or anything that's soft, the ledges collapse, so that's just a waste of time. In fact, the only real way to address this will be put a complete new pipe in.
Yes, was it, you know, when they did the whole sewage scheme years ago?
Clean sweep.
Yeah, did they replace the ones down 4th Street, or
No,
was it just,
4th Street's
it's
never-
just along the beach and
4th
stuff?
Street's
wasn't
never
it?
been dug up in
Yeah.
my lifetime.
And that goes back to the late 19th century or
That's
something.
right, yeah. Those drains got to be 100 years old.
I can find records going back to 1904.
Right. So that's a letter to them, please.
So
And
who's
we're all
going to
agreed
propose
on
that,
that.
please?
John proposed it,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
and Vic seconded it.
Camera survey, yeah.
Everybody supports that. We're moving on to administrative work matters, and the first one here is the website. Update from you, Adrian, please.
Well, I contacted Western Web, and did you all receive the email through the net to say that what we proposed with the planning side of the website, Saltash Town Council already do the same, so it's easily set up. That's a nominal cost, of course, but that can be achieved, and it does. If you looked at it, as we said, you has the planning application number, and if you click on the link, it takes you straight into the planning portal on Cornwall Council's website, and you can then view all the relevant documents and make comments as required. Which I think really that's possibly the way to go, because people do need to understand that the parish council are only consultees.
Yeah.
And yes, they can bring their comments to us and we can consider it and pass it on as well, but people need to comment to Cornwall Council at the end of the day. It's a simple answer, and if we can do it as much as we can to point people in the right direction.
So
I think that's the way to go. personally. But I'm going to do a visit to anyone.
Any thoughts on
I
that?
think that's a good idea. Just get a link, click there.
It's only £45 plus that. And I take it once it's set up, it's done forever.
It's done,
not
and
it's not a yearly.
yeah, but if you pay that once, it's on our website forevermore, and it just updates the same way that as the minutes and agendas go on, it's the same setup for the administrator to do.
Adrian, you're on video, your voice is telling this council you want to spend money. I'd hate to have you on with that.
Does it mean that they can, did you say they can submit, the members of the public can submit their views straight to Cornwall Council?
Yeah, because obviously that's what they need to go anyway, isn't it? Clicking on the link, they're going direct to where they need to be.
So it's only a viewing platform. You can't
For us, yes. They won't be comments for us. Obviously, the public can come to a meeting and make their comments to us, or email the clerk in the normal way.
Who will update it with the planning? You, the webmaster, will update
The administrator, yes.
The administrator will go on Cornwall County Council and...
Yeah, it is simply you just create the link.
I have it set up so that it automatically emails me when anything concerning our parish happens. So if something's been approved or thrown out, or if there's something coming in that we're going to have to discuss,
That could do the same on our website.
I think, yeah, we might be able to set it up for the
I
website.
don't think it's set up to do it automatically, but say you'll have the information to update the website.
You can do it automatically though. Just get it someone to do it for you.
Yeah, I propose we go for it.
Yeah, I second that.
Show of hands, please. Right. Who's pursuing this?
But if the net gives them the okay, it'll probably be set up as soon as they've had the meeting.
Right, Adrian, it's you again on social media.
Social media, this one doesn't cost. Last month, I raised this suggestion of using Facebook and Twitter as a means of publicising ourselves and possibly the positive things we do in the parish. Again, did you receive the proposed, what's the words for it, communications policy with regards? Because obviously, it's being social media, that the concern is the abuse it might receive. I found the policy, what seemed to be a suitable policy, and I've amended it to fit us. And having looked at other town councils, parish and town council websites, they don't seem to get abused. But equally, there are ways, it can be, if somebody writes something offensive, obscene, racist, insult, it can all be taken down. It might be a case that it's been sat there for a couple of hours or a couple of days before it's noticed. But even so, and action can be taken in terms of the people or person who writes such a thing can be blocked from viewing the site again. But what I would propose at this stage is, why don't we just give it a go, say for 3 months, so that would take us up to July before we break the August, put them online and see what happens.
What would be the advantages?
Well, hopefully, people who don't come to sit at a meeting but have an opinion on things
We go to Facebook.
might write it on Facebook, because it would be seen as a means of trying to communicate with us. It would hopefully raise a bit of a debate, which might help with agenda items. But
Sorry, but I believe it's far too open to abuse.
Well, of course, I avoid Facebook unless it's a personal friend of mine.
I think we were just getting overwhelmed with too much media outlets,
Yeah,
Our website,
I have enough
provides
to
ample
answer the
information.
emails.
you're only overloading people to look at Facebook, look at Twitter, and monitor everything.
You can go onto can't we go onto the website and, Lanteglos or whatever,
Yes.
and
You know, we got paperwork, we got meetings, we got, I think we got enough outlets for publicity.
But
You
I
know,
must
we've
admit,
even got
I'm
YouTube.
Somebody does anyway.
YouTube-ish.
YouTube and Polru News, you know, we got the alternative version. So why bedevil yourself with more work on more web accounts?
Oh, we've got divided opinions here.
All I say is we've got enough crap now, so I don't think it's why we should have any more. So, yeah.
Could you not use that language, please?
takes me half an hour to get through the emails anymore than
That's rubbish now.
Rubbish is the word.
And
I
that's the
do
meeting.
apologise. We have
Thank you.
enough rubbish
Right,
now.
now where are we? I'm sensing, Adrian,
Well, say, I thought, you know, I think the paragraph I like here, you know, the sites are not monitored 24/7 and we will not always be able to reply individually to all messages or comments received. However, we will endeavour to ensure that emerging themes and helpful suggestions are passed to relevant people. And I honestly think it's worth, at the very least, it's worth a go. If in 3 months' time it proves to have just been a slagging match for some, you know, disgruntled village idiots, then we'll take it off. You know, the account will be deleted as easily as it's put on there.
I've got to admit, I look at the paperwork I've got here on the table, and like Isabel said, you've got enough email coming through, and then you've got the website, and then you've got Cornwall County Council, and then you've got the clerk and all their documents. I just think we're overloading yourself with unnecessary trivia.
I don't see what is adding to your workload, John.
Well, it's the reading load.
well, you don't have to actually.
Who's going to monitor it? Who's going to read it and who's
Yeah, I
going to
was
set it
gonna
up? And is that all?
We're
not going to read it, what's the point?
Why should we put it on there?
To be
I
honest,
think it's a
Adrian,
good idea. You've got to look at ways to advertise the council and experience. Yes, but I think we're in danger of going overboard. With too much media.
Right, we have a proposal to try it for 3 months.
Yeah, I'll disregard what I've said, because I'm older generation as far as you're all concerned, and
I personally wouldn't touch Facebook or Potterpot, but I don't agree with what goes on there. I've seen lots of things, nasty things go on there. But I can understand where Adrian's coming from, that it is something that youngsters might show a bit of interest in what we do, but
yeah, I'd rather have Facebook than Twitter. To me, Twitter has
it's
a
all a
lot
load
of
of rubbish,
reputation.
to be honest with you. But then that's me, because
What is the proposal at the moment that we consider?
3-month trial.
Council to discuss and decide whether the use of social media will benefit parish council.
I can say in passing, it's not to do with the parish council, but certainly every candidate, you know, we've got an election next week, they're all on Facebook, they're all on Twitter, because they consider it vital that they connect with as many people in as many different ways as they can.
Yes, they do.
You know, it's another way of looking at things. And Isabel, I'm really out of time around here as far as that's concerned, so don't fret about that. Right, so where are we, Adrian? You have a
So
proposal
I propose to give it a go.
for 3 months.
3 months.
Well, I'll second that.
You will.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so where are we here? We need a vote, please. Anybody else supporting that?
goes
1,
against my
2,
grain, but
3. Who is against that? Right, I'm using my vote.
Hang on, to give it a go for 3 months.
Right, moving on from there, we're now looking at office equipment. I'll turn it to you, Lynette, please.
Okay, I'm not very tech savvy, but I did go onto PC World and they recommended, this is purely for the use of when the paper planning applications are gone and we have to do everything probably by a projector. They recommended a Philips PicoPix portable projector at $169.99, but that would need an HDMI to SVGA cable, which is approximately another £5 to £10. Or there's an Epsom projector, but that's £249.99 as an HDMI connection. So the first one is more favourable in monetary value.
Didn't we in the past, was that projector privately owned or was it owned by the council?
It didn't appear to be.
What?
It didn't appear to be.
Oh,
We looked.
right, just wondering, because it seemed to be used for council.
Yes, I know.
To go with the projector, we would need a screen. There's an Epsom 80-inch portable projector screen in Argos for £154.99, or there's a 92-inch one tripod type thing on Tesco's for £88. So I've kind of done with both. There's either the cheaper projector and we have to buy this cable, which is £5 or £10 more, but it still makes the whole thing cheaper. The Epsom one's £250, and then we've either spent £155 on a screen or £88.
And more comments on that, if you buy anything electrical, you buy cheap, you get rubbish. Quality comes with, the more you pay, the better you get.
Right. Councillor Hannah.
It's not come out to you yet, but there is a briefing note about the change, or the removal of the hard copies, and it's on the 12th of June. This only came to me today, but I'm reading the last paragraph. Says, the National Lottery, the Awards for All scheme, funds projects that improve communities and the lives of people within them. Funding to enable councils to e-consult falls within the scope of this scheme. Please refer to their website. So what I'm suggesting is that there may be grant funding to enable you to purchase such equipment, and that's part of a briefing note.
Very good for planning applications, isn't it?
So you could you'd be able to explode the planning application. After we get the 92-inch screen, you've got a very good...
That was cheaper. That was the cheaper screen as well. That was at £88.
But I take Toby's point.
Yeah.
I'm not tech savvy at all. I take it that this projector plugs into the
It's
laptop.
probably Bluetooth.
I don't have to have a A3 printer and all the rest of it.
No,
together.
no,
It's
no,
literally
you-
just
you-
projector and screen.
The picture is on your laptop. It transfers itself through the HDMI cable straight into the projector. I've borrowed Edwina's one for the neighbourhood planning. Classic example how good they are is if you're out St Austell chambers, council chambers, and when they do their meetings out there using this type of screen technology, you get crystal clear views, and people back here, you look at a 90-inch screen, you've got an extremely good view. You have your agendas up, all your bullet points, and once you get proficient in the art.
Talks with those now.
So we at work, we speak, because we're all over the world now. I mean, we're at a meeting today and we use the web, the webcam, and we've got all the spreadsheets and everything we need, and the person who's talking to us is on the side of the screen.
So can I sum up? What I seem to be getting from you is that yes, we want to go ahead. We are in favour of this screen, the better one. And Toby, I don't know what you think about the difference between Philips and Epsom.
I don't know. Epsom's pretty good, Philips is pretty good, one's German.
No.
Philips was the one that's £170, going to cost about £180 with this cable that doesn't come from PC World. You have to source it from somewhere else apparently. Or the Epsom one's £250.
And you see, the beauty of this technology is that you, at home, doing your clerking job, can either put the whole meeting on a disc and plug your disc in, or just leave it on your laptop and you control the whole meeting from your laptop.
You could actually put the agenda on the wall there and we could go as we go. And if you're at home working, instead of going like that on your small screen, just beam on the wall and just do that. That's what we did.
Right, so coming back to this, do I get the feeling that you're all in favour of going ahead with
Oh
this?
yes, I think it's essential.
Did you say the 12th of June that they're stopping the paper?
It's 12th Chairman, the 12th of June is when it's stopping, but we're trying to help by signposting parishes to where they could get grant funding to purchase equipment like that,
Yeah.
trying to be a bit helpful.
Do you know what the date of the issue of the briefing?
I've got to approve it tomorrow, then it'll go out in the weekly newsletter.
So
I can send it to you.
Yes, please. So we will go ahead, but we will also pursue grant funding.
Yeah, if you could, it'd be brilliant.
The problem is if we purchase this gear now, a lot of the grants won't give you a grant retrospectively.
That's why I'm saying wait. That's why I'm
You
chipped
know,
in.
will you give Lynette, St. Toby, who's tech savvy with his firm, to look at the gear and have a good look at the stuff?
And maybe if there's a grant.
Well, I think we've got an estimate work, I'm pretty
They need
sure.
to apply
I'll
for
have a
grant
look tomorrow.
now.
We sat under it for hours on it.
Right, so
We use
the,
that.
can I sum up, please? I think where we are, we've got agreement, or there's a feeling that yes, we want to go ahead with this, but also that in view of the fact that there may well be grant funding for this, for which we would be eligible, that we wait until we see what the grant funding is.
I've sent you the email now. It is going out on Friday, but I'll send it to you now.
I'll just say, there's an update at the next meeting as to what.
Yeah,
Whoever votes how we approve the purchase of this gear.
we're meeting again on the 18th of May. It's not that far away. Yeah, so we can bring. Yes, it is.
Well, we might have a bit more information
Yeah.
next meeting, but I think we should get it, but because it might be, I mean, to be honest, technology's moving on, in another week it might be a better one
Wait
even
and see
still.
if grants available,
Yeah.
funding's available
Yeah.
before purchasing the equipment.
Yes, so there's a. Can I have a proposer then for that, please?
I'll pose
That
it,
was
second
Toby,
it.
and a seconder. Isabel? Show of hands? Yes, so there are two things in there. Training courses. There are being a better counsellor. Adrian, was this the one that you attended with AK and Julian?
No one else came, but yes, I attended.
Yeah, right. These are the 16th of May. And is this the same one that you've done, or is it a...
This is
Being
a new
better.
one.
It's a new lot coming up. Chairmanship. That is in July. The Freedom of Information and Data Protection Act. That is a one-day event for local councils, the week commencing 22nd of September. That is £37 plus VAT per delegate. I think we ought to consider that. Budget setting and precept. That's the 30th of September, 22 plus that. Forward planning. It's having a longer term plan than just looking at one financial year, going from one year to another. That isn't until October. That's £22 plus VAT per delegate. Code of conduct training, it's as we sign our declarations of acceptance, we're all supposed to agree that we will undertake this if we have not already done so. So I think you need to check who hasn't. I have. The next one is the bank mandate for Barclays. We need to add signatories. Now you've already told us how many more we can have for that. So that we're deferring this until the May the 18th meeting.
Yes.
The presented accounts for payment as of today. The Cornwall Council Precept and CTS grant has been dropped into the account. That came to a total of £22,789.15. The expenses going out from Barclays are Extreme Clean, £560. The parish lighting to SSE Enterprises, £196.32. Direct debit to Frogmore, to South West Water for Frogmore toilets is £11.40. It's 8 sessions of the WI Hall at Polruan for £96. The annual renewal of the Zurich insurance is £353.31. The the renewal subscription for the Western Web, which is for our website for 2 years, is £13.20. Expenses for me, which was ink and paper and a new memory stick, was £36.97. Mileage for the last month was £37.80. And then April's salary and March and April's overtime came to £1,311.17. And the HMRC for April was £358.83, which gave a total expenditure of £2,975.
Item 3 on there, Frogmore,
DD.
direct debit.
I know, that's what I'm saying. In Julian's notes, it says that I think the wording is, strictly speaking, she doesn't think that we are supposed to set them up. But this was already done way before my time, so...
So there is one there, so why?
I thought there was one, wasn't
Yeah. Yeah, there's another one that's direct debit.
I'm not sure really. Well, we've got to ask.
But
If
I'd
we-
rather ask
I'm just
before
saying, but
adding any more.
it shows there is, you know, item 3, that shows direct debit.
The Zurich insurance,
Yes.
I thought we paid a 3-year premium.
No, the policy runs for 3 years, but it's an annual renewal.
Sorry,
That's okay.
thank you. Would have been a good premium if that was 3 years.
It's cheaper than car insurance, isn't it?
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Propose we accept them.
Thank you. The budget monitor is obviously very new, so there's not much to tell you. We've already received the preset for the first half. I think it comes in 2 halves. So we've received the first half, which was £21,500, and the CTS grant of £1,288. We're waiting for the next lot of footpath maintenance grant, and the VAT refund should be £1,585.44, and that's been sent off ready to claim back. We haven't had any adverts yet for the website, or any income in from the town trust yet.
With website income, I'll get through the annual meeting, we're going to have to sit down and work out who's paid what, because I don't.
Did I email? I emailed you that. I emailed you when they did. I'll resend it to you. I found it. I know. I said
So
it.
that
I resend it.
Alright.
Further down in the agenda is the proposed grant from the church, which is £550 less than we budgeted for. So that's why that one's down. Nothing else on that one yet. Down to the maintenance, we've had £11.40 obviously go out to the water, so it's way on budget for everything, and the cleaning. We know what Fran is each month for cleaning. Although the tenders are going out for that again in the next couple of days, because Fran's contracts end on the 31st of May. The only other expense out on the budget monitor it's showing is the maintenance of the parish lighting, which was £163.60. I did want to ask, weed spraying, do we still do weed spraying?
We used to have someone do it. Felt last year we didn't do it at all.
No. Is it something that we need to do, or is it being taken over by somebody else?
So weed spraying along St Saviour's Hill, that was the Cormac was going to do that, weren't they? They withdrew.
They used to do a grant for it, and that stopped 3 years
Yeah.
ago. Something like 3 or maybe 4 years ago, the grant stopped for it. We did this up until last year, and we gave it a go without. And other than unnamed publication having a gripe about it, nobody else did.
I didn't know if we are doing it this year, because if
Well,
we're not, then I'll just take it out of the budget monitor.
We didn't do it last year because it's getting someone to do it, it's a problem. We did get someone to do it.
We could look at it next meeting.
Do you want me to put it in the agenda next month?
Yeah. Meanwhile, because if you're doing weed spread, they've got to be fully certificated.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. People don't want the hassle, do they?
Is everyone happy with that? So there's not much to report, obviously, because it's right at the beginning of the year and you've set your budgets, and other than the few things that have gone out and the one thing that's come in, there's not really anything else
No, very good.
that I can tell you.
Well, I propose we accept it and move on to the press off.
Second.
The asset register is now up to date as far as I can assess. I took pictures of all our assets, and the folder and all the pictures were now with the clerk. So the clerk got an up-to-date brief as far as I can find of the assets. I haven't photographed the notice boards because I didn't think they were worth photographing, but in order to complete the asset register, I've promised Lynette I'll go around and photograph them. The salt bins, I could only find 11. There's supposed to be 20.
We had that discussion before, didn't we? And we couldn't figure out where they were all to, like made up. I know we had a couple of new ones, but I don't know where the 20 ever came from. We couldn't find them.
It existed. The other point is I really think we need something from county, because our assets don't bear no relation to their value. The notice boards are deteriorating. The salt bins were 9 missing, and quite a few of those salt bins are badly deteriorated. The seats are quite a bit in the same state. Standard business practice is that assets depreciate. We're advised by advisors that our assets are at cost price, at purchase price, which totally give our documents, give our asset valuations rubbish.
Nothing.
No, that's...
You know, I'll we ask county for a proper description on how we should value these assets, because historical assets really, it's like the filing cabinet. That's valued at £75. Now, Henry Orchard, I doubt we would even bother to take it off your hands.
Yeah, John, but when Helen was involved with it, Julian, they went into it, it's just the way parish councils work. It's bought at cost price and it's never written off.
It's in the training I've been on for insurance purposes and stuff like that. It's the same. It's always at cost price.
For insurance. Well, for insurance purposes, I can see it's replacement value that you want.
But is our policy a replacement value? That's...
I've asked her a million questions. And
Yeah, well, I know.
And that's what she said.
Yeah.
Does Councillor Alfred know an answer to this question? How do they value their assets?
Do you know, I'm not sure. I thought it was on... it's just a paper exercise. I don't think it, other than for insurance purposes, but it's a paper exercise, and I think it's the value it was when you bought it.
That's right, yes, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I would, as a member of Calc, I would suggest you give Calc a call.
So a rocking bench out in the hills is valued as a new one.
It seems crazy. I think it's just a
That's the thing.
paper
With the insurance
exercise.
paid. Well, it is what it is, and
It's a question we just has it off, so I would say our asset register is up to date, fully photographed, as far as we can find the items.
Yes, so about these salt bins you were saying then,
We can only find 11.
so should we reduce it on the asset register to only 11?
That's right.
Right, okay.
Do we need a proposal for that?
Yes, we do.
I propose we reduce the salt bins.
I'm not sure.
The seats go to 36.
And seats to 36.
And I'm not sure where there's 5 notice boards.
5.
the Deneck, Green Bank, the corner, and
It's 4.
White Cross. That's why it's not here.
Oh, right.
White Cross.
Everything got something to do with them.
Yes.
Is
yes,
there
it
one
does.
going bus shelter, then the shelter in between it?
It's
It's
in the
on-
shelter.
It's in the bus shelter.
It's
Clean
one
on
in
that
the
is
best
what they're doing.
That's a new one, is it?
Well, it's not new, but it's like new.
Are both the ones at the corner of Green Bank,
What one's aged?
parish council, or one's agency?
So we're reducing the salt bins to 11 and 6 to 36 because that's all that
Good find.
that are found.
That's
And you
right.
can only find 4 out of 5
No.
notice boards?
No, we've got five.
Oh,
What
yeah,
for?
5.
So that's proposed by Councillor Adams.
Yeah.
Seconder, please. Adrian. Show of hands, please. Thank you. Right.
Where's the 5th one? Bottom here,
Saviour.
within it, the bottom of Ruin Hill,
Corner.
Green Bank.
Car park.
We call it, it's the same as, it's an information board with out-of-date information on it. Apart from the map of Hogger, that's not changed.
That's
So
why
we're
we're
going to send you things for the notice board, and I
We do
only send
want
you
this.
2, and I only send you 2 things. Who's having the third thing? For the third notice board?
America's on there.
Mind you, buy a new one, it's a
Pardon?
grand.
The removal of condemned benches and the provision of 3 new benches. Where are we here, please?
Tell me what needs to go.
I copied what Julian
Yeah,
had
no,
put.
well, yeah, I made the offer, if you let me know which ones to come out, I will break the back and do it, but it won't happen until I come back from Sillies now.
I can let you know because it's on the asset register
With-
which ones
That's right,
need to go. Yeah.
With the benches in the hills, you know, go down past Philip Tom's out that way, the ones that are grown in, could we just not cut the footpath up to them there and pretend that they don't exist anymore? It's,
But then if somebody goes and has an accident over them,
Yeah, they can't just be left.
they just can't be left, can they? They've either got to be demolished,
I'm happy to go down and demolish it and remove all the stuff, but
even if they were
equally,
stacked in the hedge for the time being, you know, and put out the way that people can't, but the items that stick up out the ground,
Yeah.
that hold the things, would need removing for safety.
Yeah, how many of them are being condemned?
3.
3.
That's
Might be
3.
connected by 3, yeah,
You
can
can
you?
get somebody to remove them, you know, then, you know, the liability is gone, isn't it?
Well, why don't we try and suggest that we buy the 3 we've got budget for?
Yeah.
When they're
Or
here,
replace them with 3.
we either get a team together or get someone to take one in and take one out. Possibly.
You need motorised vehicle to keep them.
Well, I could probably use the quad and the trailer,
I was just
or you
gonna
can
say.
get permission from the National Trust to use the,
The quad.
I can come down with a quad on that, yeah, no problem with that, but
Who's going to purchase the benches then?
You've got.
Where do we get
There
them
is a
from?
catalogue.
there is actually notes somewhere being,
Yeah.
It's these plastic ones that you can get now and then they're made, well, so-called maintenance free.
they got a good deal on 3 from someone, I can't remember his name.
We'll find out for you.
Okay, so
We replaced 3 of the worst seats.
Remove and replace.
Remove and replace.
Right. And the removal, there were 2 thoughts about that, weren't there? That somebody went in with a quad bike, or we got somebody to do it for us.
Yes, and you can sort of do it after facilities.
I think it would be easier, like Tony suggests,
let's go down as a group, but yeah.
go down as a group with a quad bike in the pickaxe and do it ourselves.
So this is sounding like a community project.
Yes.
And
Good, I'm glad you volunteered.
We can mix a concrete.
so if I'm to buy these benches, when are we looking at wanting them and where do I get them delivered?
Well,
Deliver to any councillor's house if you don't want them on your lawn.
Well, otherwise you're going to have to transport them from where
You
to
can
here.
drop them at my place, I know. Pen you can put them in.
I can't remember, they come in kit form or they're actually all moulded together and they come all together.
They're pegged together.
I got storage in that.
And should you,
Well, if you find out the cost of 3 for the May meeting, then we can write the cheque, they can be ordered and delivered to whoever at next month's meeting.
Make time to do it.
Makes sense, because they can probably...
Fitted them saying July.
Yeah, they can give you the cost and the invoice, or you can make the cheque out to.
The grip bins, we've already received a verbal report on those, and we've decided that we're condemning 9. And do we know where those 11 are? Yeah, because they've been sealed.
Yeah, they've been sealed and the photographs are
Yeah.
on Link's computer.
And those 11 are in reasonable condition.
I'd say about 7 of them are in reasonable condition. A lot of them have got the tops, the sun has destroyed the plastic on them, like Essa, down Watergate. That one's nearly totally destroyed. Whitecross got a new one.
The 4 will need re-looking at before the winter.
Yes. Look to replace what, 4? maybe?
September. But that was the September meeting.
Proposed.
Seconder, please. Everybody? Thank you. Right. What sort of state then are the notice boards in, and it's a report on any repairs to be carried out?
General refurbishment required. I did the last one here at Whitecross 2 years ago. It's ready for something more saddling and just general
I
tidying
think
up.
the plan was to take the one down in the car park, which is already used, refurbish that, and then replace in turns who's ever doing the refurbishment. Refits one and puts it up.
Then we did look into that, and it was as much to refurbish it and mess around with it, and end up with a notice board that was second
Do you want me
hand.
to get
And,
prices for new notice
you
boards?
can get a lot of good alternatives now
Yeah.
in artificial plastic, whatever, that don't require the maintenance that these timber ones do.
Yes. So what we're asking Lynette to do is to find costs, and that we look at those in our
How
next
many
meeting.
would we need? Because the more we need,
Is there
might
anything
bring the
that's
cost
doing
up.
that?
I haven't looked at them, so I don't know the actual one. The ones we looked at before, whoever purchased the first one at Greenbank originally, the actual bolts were put on upside down. So as they were closed and the wind blew, the rope rattled down.
The culprit who designed the build one.
Oh,
I didn't build it. They were upside
they
down.
then blew open and the
Toilet.
doors came off of them.
And
So it would
So
be
much for a boat.
prudent to look at the makes and how they're actually put together and the locations they have to go to, I would say.
yeah, because I would say the one down in Bedinig is the most protected one, because it's
Yeah.
actually undercover.
It's like new that, isn't it?
Well, I'll get costing on a couple of different designs.
They
Very
do
expensive,
make a
about
plastic
400
one.
quid. I looked at it
Made of
last night.
plastic.
Well, yeah,
So
but
you get an
they're
electronic
fairly expensive, but in the long run they're cheap.
Right.
Oh, cheaper. We're trying to
Proposed
paint the
by,
damn thing. But, as I say, the one in Greenbank's a total absolute shambles.
Are you proposing this bit?
I would propose that instead of refurbishing, you might as well
Rolling programme
And a
replace it.
second for that, please.
Replace.
Adrian, show of hands, please.
Well, I take you through it. It's a renewable grant which has been running now for the past 16, 20 years. And the burial ground, despite various people making odd comments, it is the parish burial ground. It is not, it is owned by the church, but it is the parish burial ground, and therefore I feel that the parish has an obligation to upkeep it. Otherwise it will fall into disrepair and people in the parish will have to be buried outside the parish. The requirements for a headstone or a memorial stone in the burial ground itself, is a body has to be there in place, i.e. a body being a corpse or ashes. So anybody in the parish or who has lived in the parish can be buried there. And the grant is for £2,000. I think it is money well spent, and apart from the burial ground itself being well kept up, the wildlife, the flowers and everything are a privilege to the whole as you walk through it. And also it allows you access to the war memorials.
See, last year the church did a lot of repairs that needed doing. Did they take the whole ground? Because previous years, because they don't take the, Mr Tyson doesn't paint the whole ground in white, he draws it against it. So we approve it, then
He draws it is required, yes.
So last year, they obviously a lot of work was done. Did he still draw the full amount of that? Because we budget.
Yeah, he didn't draw so much this year, did he? 550 if you got it.
Go and look.
No, don't
Do you
worry.
want me to have it?
Oh, no, don't worry. That was just, I
The
could have looked into it
the
myself.
church treasurer just produces a receipt to the council of how much work she's done. And then
Yes,
the
it
council
draws.
just
I'm 100% for it. I was just interested, did they draw the full amount last year?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Because so they did a lot of work that needed doing anyway. So
Yeah, they had more, they drew more last year than they're asking for this year.
yeah, so we had the pass through done.
Yeah.
It really is, when I recorded the graves, the grass was knee deep and you had to feel for the graves. This was before they started the regular grass cutting. And it certainly is improved. And isn't it a nature reserve or something?
Well, we call it a wildlife park. The churchyard is cut with several different cuts. There's a low cut to allow people access to all the modern graves, of the graves of the past century. And then the older graves of 2 centuries ago, the grass is allowed to grow that little bit longer for wildlife.
And flowers.
Hopefully support the application.
Second that. Show of hands, don't vote. That is carried. Thank you. Freedom of information request. Members to receive an update on this request. We still have one outstanding, and for a variety of reasons. Messages have been ignored or have not been responded to. We are now at a stage where the complainant wishes to see the minute book, although the minutes are all on the website and always have been, and wishes to see the accounts, which were already seen by the complainant during the 6-week period. We offered to make these available before this meeting. That was turned down in an email yesterday. I wish members to discuss, please, how we go forward from this, please.
Well, I can't understand the reason why the complainant's asking for the minute book, because when you go on the complainant's website, you find up until September 2014, he publishes fully the minutes of the parish council. And after September 2014, a full video recording, not only picture in colour, it is a sound recording. So why do the complainant actually wants the minute book shown when it's been fully displayed on the internet for the past year? In fact, his minutes go back to 2012. So I can't see the point A of the minutes. And then the accounts are published every May, as per the council's requirements, for everybody to see. So, to me, it's just wasting time.
Thank you.
John's hit the nail on the head, but in the interest of being above there and beyond, we'll just keep offering. If he can come prior to any meeting and look at it.
I will show you what they look like. That is the accounts. That is the minute book. And as we've already said, all of those are available on the next time.
It's online.
If they wish to see it, why don't we arrange for the persons concerned to turn up at a mutual agreed place, but I will assure councillors here that our clerk will be attended by at least 2 of us
More.
and make sure that the sides are equal.
Right.
And I'll volunteer to be one of them.
I will suggest, I am going to suggest that in the, if we look, not next week, but in the second week of May, that is the week beginning the 11th, Monday the 11th, that having written to the complainant and offered a morning or an afternoon, we take the community room at the fire station, where those 2 documents will be available for inspection. The clerk will be attended.
Meeting closes, unless he wants to do it before this meeting.
I see no reason why we can't offer the complainant now a chance, while there's a video camera present, to look at the books.
I'd like to go with what Vic has suggested, please, which is that we take another room, please.
You have to come to the wrong side of the camera to look.
Right. Now then,
Leave it on the chair.
So we're going to offer to meet at the community room in the fire station.
yeah,
It will be myself and
at least 2
Members.
councillors.
It's Foy Festival that week, in case that affects anybody.
Well, that's why in the letter that is written, we can make that offer.
okay.
There will be a charge for any copies that have been made, or that are asked to be made. And would we like to think about what that is, because this needs to go into the letter of invitation.
Is there a printer there or something?
No?
And if there's no, I can take my printer and I can photocopy. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And if the complainant doesn't appear at the fire station, as requested, I take it
Invited.
the matter's closed and the information commissioner will be told that
I
the behaviour is
have
unreasonable.
already been in touch with the case officer at the Information Commissioner's office, who has no difficulty, I might add, in corresponding with me as chairman of the council. I would make that very plain in a letter. Both my letters to the Information Commissioner have been acknowledged immediately.
I take it the information commissioner will be able to look at you 2, Paul on 100, and see a meeting in this next meeting of this council and the explanation given and the offer given to the complainant.
Right, do I have
How much are we going to charge for the copies?
Well, I would say at least 20 pence each.
Oh, yeah. It has to cover, it should cover.
Well, no, we've got a couple of people's, if they can turn up, they're going to lose
I
things,
can have
earnings
to
and
drive
stuff.
there for a
You've
Yeah,
got a choice
there
of
will be
that.
expenses in that as well.
Yeah, I think you'd have to.
So there's a minimum wage or hourly wage to consider. Got to be minimum 15
Right,
pounds.
Adrian?
Again, being more than fair, and I don't know why, if the complainant specifies exactly what he wants to see, the minutes are online, it could all just be emailed if he's specific, or she, must be neutral on this as well.
Yeah.
If, they're fishing for something, so just bloody well spell it out and ask for it, and they can have it.
We've been dealing with this since last year. It started when Ian was the clerk. It was never resolved.
It's just somebody with too much bloody time on their hands and wasted our time.
hold on. Gillian quite rightly said that as a locum clerk she was preferred not to deal with it. We agreed that Kevin would take it as the solicitor, and there is a very rigid interpretation of who may deal with this. This is not quite the same as other interpretations of who may deal with this, believe me. Right, so Adrian, coming back and listening to what Vic said, instead of emailing things, the complainant has asked to inspect these documents.
They want to see the whole
Well,
page.
That's the documents.
But if he wants to have copies, then we need to make a charge
Yes,
per
we do.
copy.
20 quid. 20 quid a copy of whatever you want, each one. If you want 6 pieces, 20 quid. You don't get anything for less than that these days.
I believe the last time a person was charged for the Freedom of Information Act, it was a £10 cheque. It should show in our accounts of, is it 2011, 2012? When the cheque was paid
Yeah, it's
into our accounts.
Lynette, how long does it take you to drive to Hollywood?
20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes, 14 miles return.
Yes. And there is a
45
rate
pence
for
a
the
mile.
petrol, yes.
And the
And
hours
there
you
will
work.
be so much of your time, that will probably be a couple of hours. So add all that up, plus any copying charges, and we're coming to something that's approaching £40 to £50, possibly. Right, will you draft a letter, please? Actually, I'm asking, is it your will that Lynette drafts the letter that contains all that?
Definitely. I propose it.
Thank you. Thank you, Toby. Bernard has seconded. We're all agreed on that.
And the agreed date of the meeting at the station.
Yeah, the week beginning the 11th of May.
Are
Of
you
course,
available?
if he just wishes to, he or
That's
she
the
just
week of
wishes
the
to
3 meetings.
see them before the meeting or after the meeting, then
That has already been refused.
that is already refused.
Clerk draft a letter offering a date to meet at the fire station and outlining expenses incurred.
What the charges will be.
Or later than that, just look at our website.
And can somebody, Mr. you proposed and seconded that.
Toby, great.
And how do we propose to collect these charges? Is the complainant going to be billed on the spot, or is he going to pay before he has the information handed
We
over?
don't know how much you're going to do, John, so that's impossible, isn't it?
But
When
you
you pay-
schedule of what he wants,
When the person
and
pays
then
for it.
make the bill up, and it's going to be paid before the event, surely.
Just tell us exactly what they want printed off at the time of the meeting. Pay the cheque in and get it cleared, and then send then the appropriate documentation. Why not?
Fair enough.
Anybody have any objections to that?
Probably the complainant.
If he doesn't want to delay, he can bring the cash.
Right.
Is it a Pope Catholic?
Oh, the War Memorial. I've been talking to Gavin. We might have to go back. I don't know whether it's plan A, plan B on the War Memorial. I'll ask you to speak in a moment, please. Thank you. The heritage contractors have not come back. They haven't indicated any interest in the meeting. So we may have to go back to what was proposed earlier, that we might have to look at a more local or a lower cost proposal. John Adams has already spoken to Gavin. I don't know whether the War Memorial Committee is that.
Right, I've spoken to Gavin this morning and asked for a meeting of the War Memorial Committee. We have now got 3 quotes for the War Memorial, ranging from Heritage Cornwall, where their letter last year stated in the region of a budget of 14k to 16k, and down to the lowest quote, which is below £3,000. The 2 people who quote the best figures are local. The quotes are here, which needs to be discussed at the War Memorial Committee meeting. Now, we follow on from that. Despite various people's thoughts on the matter, grants are available and we can apply for grants for First World War memorials. These grants can be paid to groups. You don't have to go down the heritage grant, of applying for these grants. As a group of people calling themselves the Holy Mowers from Devon, they applied to the War Graves Commission for a grant for £750. They received and they undertook the complete restoration of the granite memorial cross and its surroundings. And they paid that without approaching anybody from the heritage people. Also, when you pay for the repairs of these war memorials, it comes back free. So the price is dropping all the time. And at the moment, without a grant, we've got a price of under £3,000. Very good.
Yes, so what you now need to do, did you say to take that back to the War Memorial?
Take this back to the War Memorial Committee for a discussion and their approval, and then come back.
And then come back.
Yes.
Right. I'd like to thank John for his work on that.
Thanks, John.
Yes, Adrian?
Is it proposed to meet before the next parish council meeting, or
Well,
it'll be?
road to it next month.
What, before our May meeting?
Well, I've asked for the meeting as soon as possible.
If you could. Right. Right. So the proposal is then that John takes this back. It goes to the War Memorial Committee, who we hope is going to meet before our meeting, and that means that you will come back with a recommendation from them in time for the May meeting.
Yeah.
That is the proposal. Do I have a seconder for that, please? Bernie, and show of hands, please. Thank you very much, Bernie. 4th Street. This is the minute from the March meeting. Now, you reported the last pothole in 4th Street to Mr. Adrian Drake.
It's been done, hasn't it?
It's been done.
And it's fallen to bits.
No, it's starting to sink.
It's starting to sink.
Well, you know, it will always sink because the leaking water under the ground is washing the substrate away. And until those water mains are fixed, this will happen continually.
There's always been a spring that went down that way. That's how 4th Street started.
It's been repaired, but it's already started to sink.
Could you make him aware of that, please?
I suppose Cormac don't talk to South West Water, try and come together with something, don't they?
Yeah, that's too easy.
Oh, right, okay, just wondered.
Right.
I think this is where South West Water have got to get their act together with their camera.
As we
As we
spoke
spoke
earlier.
Yeah.
And what is the word, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that in the letter that we are already in correspondence with South West Water about the problems of 4th Street.
And that's the 5th time that hole's been repaired. If it lasts till July, well,
Well, it's patching.
yeah.
Litter bins. Oh. Now, due to the amount of domestic rubbish being placed in the bins on Cornwall and Quay, Corey will be placing new commercial waste stickers on all bins. Any bags left outside the bins will be inspected for evidence, and any evidence will be passed on to the environmental officer to pursue. Corey are going to monitor the problem.
You've explained to me that commercial waste is waste by, from rented cottages.
Yes.
But do the holiday makers know that?
Did we at one time talk about writing to the letting agents, advising them of this, or did a letter go out?
It's always been proposed, but whether I don't think it was ever acted upon
Yes,
on any side.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I take your point, Isabel. The holiday makers aren't going to think of
They're
themselves
not
as
going to say
commercial waste.
waste.
I think the sign commercial waste is a bit misleading. It should be really commercial and household waste. Because when I've been on the ferries, I've watched people, local people, who live in the key area, gone into the dustbins with their household waste. You get the same up green bag. Victor challenged holiday makers dumping their household waste on Sunday up green bank and got a deal for it. Until the right descriptions put on these beads, I think in Corey's interest, really on bank holiday weekends, they should look at emptying Saturday and Sunday all the waste bins. Because you go up and down 4th Street, like I do every morning at 7:30 in the newspaper, non-bank holiday weekends like now, even on a Monday morning, 4th Street is clean. But after, say, Easter weekend, like Easter Monday, I started on Saturday morning, all the holiday cottage were putting out the wine bottles in all the in the proper disposable bags, and that was on a Saturday morning. 4th Street was just lined with all the holiday cottages changing over with their rubbish.
So it does need to have something reminding agents that they do have a responsibility.
That's right, but
But
then again,
also, didn't we several years ago suggest, or I don't know whether it actually passed, but several years ago, that there be more collections in the holiday periods in these tourist areas, where the changeover is on Saturday.
But don't only blame the visitors, because I've gone down 4th Street on a Sunday
Yeah.
and even a Saturday sometimes, and there's partial rubbish stacked out
it's
ready,
been stacked
for
outside Saturday
Monday.
mornings in 4th
and
Street.
that's with local people.
It's not,
You walk down 4th Street.
yeah, but there are lots of holiday houses down.
No, I'm on about local people
Yeah,
in
right.
4th Street.
Right, okay.
And throughout, you walk around and different people on different, because they're too damn blessed idle to get
Put it
up
on
put it
Monday
out
morning.
on Monday morning or
The bin collection
Sunday.
then come round on time. You know, I think peak holiday periods, Corey should really, instead of getting fined, they should be one step ahead and go round and just go that extra mile to pick up the gear. Because they've got the little mini lorry which can scoot round Polruan in a flash.
Well, John, there's another aspect to that. Corey are a commercial agency. Okay, now they're not going to do extra deliveries or extra clearances without being paid.
That's right.
So then we go back to
Back to them, Britain.
Right. Commercial waste from holiday lets is a matter for the owner or the letting agency. It's not public waste, so Corey will not collect it. It's not their responsibility. It's the responsibility of the owner or the letting agent who create the refuse. And my understanding is the stickers, because we had the same stickers in lieu, that it does say householder or commercial waste. So I would double check that. I was looking for a photograph, because I did photograph them and I can't find it. But I think it does say.
No commercial waste to be placed.
Well, I think it does say householder as well, because it's not it's not householder waste. It should not be put into public bins. And as far as the holiday lets, that's why they want to investigate as best they can where the refuse that's being left propped up is coming from. If it is coming from a holiday let, then that is the responsibility of the owner of the holiday let or the agent.
You know,
And Corey, they've got to pay for it. It's not for the public purse to be paying to dispose of their commercial waste.
Gina Barker is saying on a Maybank holiday weekend, should walk round Polruan on a Saturday morning and a Sunday morning. I'll walk round with her and show her all the waste that's put out.
Just to clarify, if a holiday let comes down to the stay, they make it 5 or 6 bags of rubbish.
Yeah.
They're supposed to pay it in their car and take it away with them, are they? Is that
No, the
No.
agent or the owner has a duty of care to dispose of their refuse. It should not be under the Corey contract.
So if that
It's
owner
it's commercial waste.
puts it out for the dustbin, being the owner, and he's got a property in Polruan, it can be picked up.
If they pay for it, yes. It's not classed as domestic.
Right, okay.
It's classed as commercial waste, and that is a commercial arrangement.
But then that comes down as well.
Can I just say that on Saturday morning, I watched 2 people putting rubbish in the bin on the quay.
And that's why the refuse they will go through the bins. They do go through bins. We had the same problem in Loo, and they'll go through and try and identify where that's come from, and they're pretty clever at doing that. As far as reminding holiday let owners or the agents of the responsibility, I think you should write to either Gina Varco or Verity Polk on the Cornwall Council side, and ask if they will write, asking them to to fulfil their obligations to dispose of their commercial waste.
Well, I've written to
What
Corey.
is she called, Verity?
Verity Polk, P-A-L-K. She's on the client side, so she's on Cornwall Council, and Gina is the compliance officer.
Yeah, Gina I've spoken to before.
So Gina, they will, if it's something that Corey should be doing as contractor, they will let them know. But this is nothing to, it's a red herring, Corey. This is a commercial waste issue that those owners are not fulfilling their obligation to dispose of commercial waste.
So it's asking these two ladies to write to the
One or
letting
the other,
agents
yeah.
and the owners to
And
say...
reminding them of their responsibility to dispose of commercial waste.
You know, you take a look at walking down 4th Street on a Sunday morning. Now, I think there's, correct me if I'm wrong, there's about 80 houses the length of 4th Street. Now, I would say 60 of them are holiday cottages or second homes. In peak times, like Easter weekend, 4th Street, outside all these houses, was lined with refuse, either recycling or refuse sacks. And that started the Saturday morning.
But Corey won't collect it if it's commercial waste, unless they have a financial contract with them to do that.
How do they define which is commercial?
If it's a
just-
holiday let,
But
How do they know?
some of these holiday lets
That's
are
the
run on
trick.
the waterfront.
and that's where I think that this you as parishioners have a role to play in informing Verity or Gina which are holiday lets, and you can usually tell they've got a little. Well, you know, don't you? They've got a little sticker in the window. I think there's a piece of work to be done here if you want to crack this one. We have to help Verity and Gina to identify which is which.
Adrian.
Edwina has identified the way forward there, because on numerous occasions I have been into Polborough cottages and said, well, the waste there is coming from a cottage or letting. And the answer I've got for them, well, the owner's paying their council tax. And so, well, if they're letting it, they should be paying business rate, not council tax.
Sorry, they need to correct you. They can pay domestic rates, but their waste is still classed as commercial. The law's changed only last year, as you know. Which is the same problem with the trust.
Maybe
As
they
far as
don't
the letting
realise
agent is concerned, the owner pays the council tax, so...
Well, they're wrong.
waste-
They're wrong.
Don't you think it's unfair that Corey are being fined for something they can't control?
They're not being fined. Well, we need to identify, and it's in Corey's interest, it's in their own interest, to identify which are commercial, which is commercial waste and which is domestic.
So really, Gina needs to get her act together with the Corey rep and walk round this village.
But I think she needs help from you guys, because you have the local knowledge about, yeah, that's a holiday, yeah, no, somebody lives there. You know that better than they do.
Yeah. So there are two prongs to this. One is that Corey is going to try and identify by
In the public refuse bins where it's coming from.
The other one is that we, as the council, write to both Gina Varco and Verity Polk, asking them
To write to the letting agents.
In the
and we
first
can tell them who those
instance,
letting agents are. They already know, don't they?
Yeah.
Should
So I
do.
think they need we did talk about this when
Yeah.
they came. You were there, John, when they visited. They haven't actually done it, and I think they need a bit of a prod on that.
And that is
And then
why-
the second piece of work
Mm.
is to actually identify which are holiday lets and
Yeah.
therefore commercial waste to help Corey
Yeah.
know.
And that's local knowledge.
Yeah, I think they need a bit of help on that really,
Yeah.
because you can't identify a holiday let from from council tax because they don't get any discount anymore. Some may be paying business rates, some may be paying domestic. You can't differentiate
Yeah.
other than through your local knowledge.
So you've got permanent, so if someone's renting, say, for 6 months, are they allowed to put their rubbish out?
Yeah, because that's because it's not it's not a business, it's domestic waste.
Yeah, but you just said if you're down here on holiday for a week,
Yeah, that's different
Why is
from
that
somebody that's a permanent let.
it's not.
It's not the
permanent,
same.
It's not permanent. It's
Well, permanent in
it's
that
more than
they're
a
not
week,
staying
what you're
there
saying.
for a week. It's
So
not.
if you're there for
rotating.
2 weeks, it doesn't matter, or is it a month minimum or something?
No, I think it's a difference in the contract. If you're advertising on a website
okay.
that this is available, yeah, you could let it for a month advertising off that website. Unusual, 2 weeks max.
Yeah.
That's a commercial. That's commercial waste. If somebody has got a tenancy
Right, yeah.
and they are, even if it's a 6 month tenancy, then that's a different matter.
Thank you for that. Right, we know where we're going with this.
So we're going to write a letter to Gina and Verity and ask them to write to the letting agents to
Yes.
remind them that all holiday cottages is commercial waste and is not to be placed in litter bins or left out for normal rubbish collections.
Correct.
And are we also having a volunteer to go and find out which ones are the letting agents and let them know?
So can I say it's remind the letting agents to remind their owners
No, and owners.
and owners, yeah, and owners. I'd do both.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you have a house that's a holiday let, and so it's commercial waste. When is that collected, or how is that?
That's
arranged?
down to either the owner or the agent to have that appropriately collected, and they need to pay for it.
Adrian?
Could be Corey, could be H&A.
Obviously, this is the course of action, but when you write your chairman's report, and that certainly will go in every cottage
Oh, it
in the village, that could be a way of notifying as well.
Yes.
The owners.
Thank you. Right.
Yeah, the other thing I'd just like to say on that is that outside of holiday periods, the rubbish collection is good.
Yeah.
You know, it has got good points.
Mhm.
It's just that peak holiday periods, it all goes to a ball of chalk.
Yes.
Who's going to propose?
Yes, a proposer for that, please.
I propose it.
So that's Toby and Adrian. Sure, please. Thank you. We will have to put this on the agenda for the 18th, and I would suggest that we have a closing date by 10th of June, so that we will be able to co-opt in the June meeting. Now, moving on, in view of the special confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, it is advisable in the public interest that the press and public be excluded, and they are instructed to withdraw. I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for your attendance.